obviously. I've worked with all sorts in the past, and this is about the most painless system I've come across. Like I said, I've got a little bit of a reservation because of the water content, and it's actually, as I said, caused some of these panels to just swell a little bit. The water obviously getting into the cardboard Pepakura base, but the actual overall effect it is quite, as I say, it's added a lot of strength to the point where I don't feel like I ought to be considering. I could quite happily do this in one go, and what I may do is switch the camera off, mix another batch and keep going, because like I say, at this stage the actual helmet feels quite strong on its own. It doesn't feel the need, and that's the only problem I've got. The one that I may have to, like it or not, get it going, because what's happened now is I've just put that last sheet of fiberglass in, and I'm running out of Jesmonite to run it down, which is probably me being a bit tight with the Jesmonite. But at the end of the day, you want this to be an economic system, if not everybody is funding it out of a corporate account, which is what I can say, unfortunately, to be doing. If it's education, you've got your budgets to worry about. If it's home, there's a limit to how much you can convince any wife to spend. Having said that, when you look at the cost of fishing, you wonder whether there might not be a case. Right, so what we'll do is I'll do another couple of mixes, and we'll come back at when it's dried and tell you what I think about that stage, how strong I think it's got. Solid. I would quite happily consider standing on that. It is so solid, and that's just one coat of this. Like I said, having got a little bit wetter, a little bit of that, the shape disappeared. I was going to consider on the second helmet, which this was one, as I said, made earlier, was to actually just try doing it in sections, and that one has just had one coat on the inside, and I was seriously considering going straight over to the fiberglassing. But I've got to say, when I now compare how soft this is with how hard this is, the amount of mechanical change is unbelievable. That second one now is so strong. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to run round the whole of the edge, this edge there, and actually fold over the fiberglass and do a double layer around that edge, so that that edge is really strong and will stand being sawn if need be, or sanded, so that that edge is effectively the weak spot. It's got a big strong second ring round there. But what I am going to do, having learnt that, what I have done is I'm going to come back to this one, the second one that's following it, and I'm actually going to go through the steps of running one coat around the inside, then fiberglassing it with the mat, because without it, I think the weight of the mat and the additional compound that you're using would cause it to distort even more. But what I have done this time is I've let that inner first set, so that the actual base, so the bottom has got some strength. It actually isn't bad. You could get away with it almost from a point of view of strength, just on the on that. It would, I think that long term it wouldn't be good, but if you needed it just for a one-off shot or a one-off prop, that would be enough. It's only if you're going to ask some of these guys who wear these things go charging around that you'd actually need to take it up to this level. And like I said, what I'm going to do is take this up to put an extra ring around the edge, partly because this is going to spend a lot of time in the showroom. And then the next step then, because this is so strong, I'm actually going to sit down with a saw, cut the whole of the visor area out, take that piece then, and using the vac former, I'm going to have a go at forming over that some 3mm acrylic, preferably the iridescent acrylic, just to see whether it's possible to actually make a nice visor that fits perfectly back into that hole. I don't see why not, using that as the actual mould for making it. We'll get back to you at a later stage and tell you how well that went. But that is, for the first time I've ever used Jesmonite, I am knocked out with the stuff. I don't ever see me going back and buying any of the old-fashioned fiberglass. It's just, you just don't need it. And this stuff is 10 times easier to use, safe. Everything about it is just a plus. You know, the fiberglass works well. You don't feel like you're fighting the whole thing. I'm impressed, and as I say, can't wait to be getting on with. We're going to do a squirrel helmet next, so get back to you there with that when we're doing it.